the Aspire Sports Show. I'm your host, Tyler, along with my co hosts, Kyle and Giggs. And we're here to recap the Thursday night game, which actually was better than anticipated, I must say. It was pretty high scoring. The over under was 40, and one team, the Broncos, scored 37, so they almost beat the spread by themselves. So it wasn't a bad game. I gotta give it to the two teams. So got some stuff we want to talk about, and so let's just get into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about, like always, injury news slash player news. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Pittsburgh Tennessee game is postponed. So if you have any players in those on those teams, got to get them out of your lineup. Find some other players to start this week. We'll talk about a couple that um, might still be available in your leagues that you could go and pick up and just put in the lineup for this week. Next one, Alan Lazard, which is actually it was like kind of came out of nowhere, had surgery on a core muscle, out indefinitely. Uh, Jimmy Jimmy G did not practice. I made a mistake yesterday. I said he practiced, but he did not practice. He didn't practice today. They said Nick Mullins is likely to start again. Raheem Mostert did not practice. Kittle and McKinnon full goes. Ruggs, Brian Edwards did not practice again, so they're probably not going to be playing this week. Hunter Renfro, fire him up. Um, Hopkins did not practice 2 days in a row now because of an ankle issue. I think he'll probably play. He's also kind of like a guy that plays through the questionable tag, so I think he'll play. But something to definitely keep your eye on. McVay said he'd be surprised if Cam Akers plays, so probably not going to play this week. Will Fuller, limited with a hamstring. DJ Chark practice was limited. Fournette, Scotty Miller, and Chris Godwin all did not practice. So it's looking like Fournette's not going to play this week. So Ronald Jones would be a decent play, but they do play the Chargers, which is actually a pretty tough matchup for running backs. So we'll see. We'll see. But Godwin unlikely to play as well. Michael Thomas did practice. Jared Cook did not practice. Julio Jones and Russell Gage practiced limited. One thing, Ridley did not practice now 2 days in a row because of an ankle injury. Or ankle issue. I don't know exactly what's going on. So definitely something to keep your eye on as well as we get closer to Sunday. Well, they play Monday night though, so maybe it's just a little bit of maintenance because he's been playing pretty well. Hunt did not practice again. Odell Beckham popped up on the injury list, was limited, and also McLaurin was added. He was limited because of thigh issue. It's not good if somebody's added in the middle of the week with an injury to the injury report. So also keep your eye on that. John Brown did return to practice limited, so we'll see if he plays this week. And then one other thing, Christian Kirk practice, which depending on I guess what happens with Hopkins, we'll see what happens, but could be a good somebody to put in there if you're one of those people with the Steelers Tennessee players. So let's go ahead and we'll kind of recap Sunday night, or not Sunday night, Thursday night football. So first thing I want to talk about, hey, I told you, Tyler's surefire bet, right? Tim Patrick, 2.5. I said, hey, I feel very confident about this. And first half, he had 2 catches, ended up with 6 catches, I think for 113 yards. Yeah, so he had a pretty good game as well. I definitely wasn't expecting that, but I thought for sure over 2.5, easy. So easy money. A little to my own horn, but I did say I felt like Chris Herndon, maybe over 3.5, which he had some targets, dropped 2 easy balls. What the hell are you doing out there, Chris? Literally nobody was around him on the first one, just drops it. Not good. So, but other than that, I want to say Ribbon, he looked good. And then, fourth quarter for a little bit there, just a little stretch, made some really bad turnovers. I mean, he's a rookie. What do you expect, right? Uh, really first game starting, so but he looked good. He is a rookie, right? This is his
Yes, he
first year.
is.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it didn't look too bad. Darnold looked like Darnold out there, right? And not much going on for this offense, but missed some easy throws as well, like overthrew him badly. So, but not too bad. Too bad he plays on a very shitty team with a pretty terrible coach. So I'll go ahead and let you guys take it over from here. Your thoughts on the Thursday night game? We'll start with Gigs.
Yeah, I thought it was very entertaining for two 0-3 teams playing each other. Um, I liked Rippin. I liked what I saw out of him. I think he looks pretty good. The back-to-back picks that was not ideal, but he came back out and moved the ball pretty well. So it seems like he was able to shake it off. And I thought they were going to consider putting Driscoll in the game at one point, but they stayed with him and they wound up getting the win thanks to Melvin Gordon having that big run, which I had Melvin Gordon 65 and a half rushing yards. That over was like my lock. And when the Jets had the ball with 3 minutes left, I was like, it's it. This is it. Like if they don't turn the ball over right now and let the Broncos run out the clock, I'm not going to get it, because if they go and score, Broncos get the ball back, and if they can't get down the field, it would be a knee, right? So I was just terrified, but he wound up getting the over because of that nice run. But Sam Darnold, I just thought it was like a lot more of the same. Like, he has a couple nice passes. Obviously, he's running around for his life half the time. They just lost a left tackle in this game, and they had a tackle injured coming into it.
Yeah,
But
didn't they say? I'm pretty sure they said they had 7 or maybe like 8 offensive linemen that they dressed, and they played all of them tonight. So that's doesn't
yeah,
bode well.
it's ridiculous. I mean, it's hard for any quarterback to produce if they have no time to throw the ball. Like, he's got a cannon. He can fit the ball in tight windows. He's made big plays in college, and we've seen him make big plays in the NFL too. But I mean, he's just a guy who's sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's cold. And the Broncos being an abysmal pass defense, he should have been able to chew him up a little bit more than he did today. He didn't even have a passing touchdown, which is what surprised me. But he was their whole team tonight. He had almost 300 total. I think he had 300 total yards rushing and passing. So, yeah, the game, it didn't go how I thought it was going to
You'll
go.
just
But
go and search hashtags
I'm
like
just glad
fantasy
it wasn't
football.
a shit
And
show of a Thursday
I
game,
feel
because that's
bad
what I'm
because
kind of
some
used to.
people were like, should I play Melvin Gordon tonight? And I was like, they listed a couple other people, and I was like, hey, you should play those over Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon would have had an all right game. Like, it really wouldn't have been that good had it not been for that 43-yard touchdown run. Like, it would have been a decent fantasy day. He would have had, I think, like 60 yards, 50 yards, touchdown, and then 1 reception. So, or he had 2 receptions. So it would have been an all right fantasy day had it not been for that 40. That 43 one looks a lot better. And then also, a lot of people were asking about Jerry Jeudy as well. And honestly, it wouldn't have been that good of a game if Desir would have made a play on that ball. Like, that was pretty pathetic. It should have been an interception. It was poorly underthrown, and he's kind of just like falling back, and Jerry Jeudy definitely makes a good play on it. But and I know you can't say, well, if that wouldn't have happened and this and that,
Yeah.
but truly it really wasn't.
But
It
I feel
should not
like,
have
to be
happened.
fair, I mean, I agree with the Jerry Judy one, that play should have been made, but I feel like people, and I mean, maybe even I do it, but I hear people constantly saying every week, well, he wouldn't have had this many yards if it weren't for that play, or that, like we said about
Yeah,
James
but that's
Conner.
that's
but
for sure.
but it also is part of how the run game works. It's opening up, and then especially if the passing game starts
There's no
working.
reason
But
he should have bounced that outside for a
yeah,
43-yard.
I guess, but it's also late in the
No.
game. Those dudes are really tired, those interior linemen. So mistakes are bound to happen at that point in the game, and that's what happened with
Right.
James Conner. I mean, that's against the Broncos. You get one of those plays because everybody's drained and everybody's tired. So I mean, I agree, but Melvin Gordon also takes a lot to how many rushes did he have? I'm sure he was tired at that point to keep his energy going.
23.
Yeah, so I mean, he was also pretty tired at that point. So it's a good play by him, but I mean, I agree, but there's two sides to that
Yeah,
argument.
two sides to the argument, but you got to put everything into context. Where
Yeah, I'm not saying he's my favorite every week for now on, but I see what you're saying.
he was still a good play, but I just want people were already messaging me saying like, dude, you said not to play Melvin Gordon. And it's like, yes, he would have had an all right game, but you got to put everything in the context. Last play, you can say all day if or if not, but it was just kind of like a lucky little play there that
I just figured
Sometimes
against the
that happens.
Jets. I just felt like for me it was a
Well,
But
no-brainer. But I
Melvin
understand
Gordon
being
before that
reluctant.
play, Melvin Gordon before that play had what, like 63 yards, a touchdown, two catches, not like maybe 10 receiving yards.
yeah,
So like
no, I'm not
that
saying it
play
wasn't a
alone
bad
was
play.
that play alone was 10 points. So when like someone
Yeah.
sees that game, they're gonna be like, dude, he went off. It's like it's just
Yeah,
one play. And
right.
like and even with like Jerry Judy, like I kind of want to bring this up because I think it's kind of alarming, right? So I'm a big Jerry Judy fan. Coming in, I thought he has to be one of the top three prospects. For me, it was Justin Jefferson, Judy, and Lamb. And even though he had a touchdown tonight, and you might be looking at his fantasy production, you're like, all right, I got double digit points, got 10, 11 points. That's cool. But Rippon had 31 pass attempts, 19 completions for 242 yards. Jerry Judy only had three targets. He had one catch for 48 yards that was a touchdown. He finished with two catches and 61 yards and a touchdown. So if it wasn't for that play, that was an abysmal play if you started Jerry Judy. And I was taking a dive. I was just diving into the stats. Like Judy really hasn't had that good of a year, especially with Sutton not being in
Hmm.
the picture. Like I get it that the quarterback situation hasn't been great, but I'm waiting for Jerry Judy to have that 100-yard game, one or two touchdowns, like almost double digit catches, because he's supposed to be able to do that. That's where he was drafted at. He was drafted like, yo, you're the shit. Like you're our guy. They need
Hmm.
to get him the ball more. Three targets is not enough.
And kind of to talk about this a little bit as well, like Jerry Judy, I mean, I think going forward, somebody that you definitely need to keep on your radar is uh, Tim Patrick. I mean, last week,
Absolutely.
and this is what I kind of touched upon yesterday, right? Tim Patrick, Rippon goes out there against Tampa Bay, one drive. He has one drive, and the one drive he does target Jerry Judy three times, but he also targets Tim Patrick three times, completes them all. So I think right now he had seven targets, six catches, 113 yards. Yeah, I think he's somebody that going forward. I don't know how much longer Locke is going to be out, but as long as Rippon's playing, he kind of it seems that he likes Patrick. So he's definitely somebody. And Patrick kind of he didn't last year. He kind of came on towards the end of the season as well, like with Sutton in there. So it's not like this is some nobody. Like he did do decently well last year. So
And
um,
I mean, the last two people I really want to say that we haven't spoke about, which one didn't surprise me and one did, is Jamison Crowder. Really wasn't shocked. I figured if he was healthy, he would at least have some production. But Jeff Smith, not really a guy I don't think anybody's really talking about. I mean, maybe a little bit. But I mean, he did average 11.6 yards, seven receptions, 81 yards. So I mean, for what's gonna have to probably be a pretty pass-happy offense, I don't really mind him. Certain weeks, certain games, especially divisional games for the Jets. They always play pretty well in divisional games. So especially against the Patriots, but who knows with the Patriots? I mean, a lot of people saying they're a favorite. People are saying the Bucks are still a favorite. I don't know what to expect right now. So, but
all right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just move on. Like final remarks, anybody? I think just as a whole, it was more entertaining than expected, so that was good. Wasn't a bad. It wasn't a bad game.
no,
No, I don't think so either. I would say that if you're a Noah Fant owner, you have to be paying attention to what happened with his knee because he
I
got
did
carted off
see,
and then came
yeah,
back, but he didn't get targeted again.
and I
So that's
saw um they just said something. They said it's which obviously you don't really know. But I got an update that said it was the condition. They said he's going to be good going forward. I don't know if that's going to be true, but that's what they. I forget who it was. It was a beat reporter. But something to monitor because he didn't have that good of a game, but at least he had six targets. He kind of was like that safety valve, kind of type of player. So I think just gotta wait for Drew Lock because when Drew Lock comes back, I think he'll be a pretty good start each week. with Sutton out.
Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about NBA?
Yeah, we could do that. I just also want to add that Kyle, you were talking about what's his name? Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
The guy he got 9 targets tonight, 7 catches, 81 yards. The other wide receiver, Lawrence Cager, I believe his name is,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
got hurt
He
and he
got hurt
left.
though. Yeah.
So if they're down Perryman, if they're down
Yeah.
Cager, who knows? Like Jeff Smith, they take on Arizona next. So it's not the worst of matchups either.
All right, let's move on. A couple of things, and then if you guys want to talk about basketball, sure. Um, so next thing, I just want to go through a couple of these real quick. I want to talk about some deep dives. All right. Maybe you have some players that are in this game that's getting postponed. So these are a couple of people that maybe you could just plug in. And I didn't want to just say guys that are probably owned already in your leagues. I mean, if somebody like Hunter Renfro is still available, go and get him. But these are going to be people that are lower than 10% owned. Okay, so these are some scraping the bottom of the barrel type of guys. All right, so if you're in a deep league and you need somebody, so the first one I'm going to talk about is Gabe Davis. Now, John Brown did come back to practice, so we'll see if John Brown doesn't go. I do like Gabe Davis this week against against Las Vegas, and I talked about him yesterday. He was 4 for 4, 81 yards when John Brown left. So somebody that I do like going forward if John Brown misses. Greg Ward, talked about him yesterday as well. Play San Francisco, tough matchup, but who else in Philadelphia? Who else? You still have Deshaun Jackson as in practice. You have Dallas Goddard. Now he's out for multiple weeks. So, and then you still have Alshon who hasn't practiced. Who else, right? So he's somebody that you could definitely throw in there if you're hurting for somebody to start. A couple running backs, okay? Running backs tough. Running backs really tough because there's nobody available probably in your league. But Gus Edwards, Baltimore. I think they're like 14-point favorites, aren't they? It's like something crazy this week. So I'd imagine that they're going to be up big at halftime. When they get big up at a halftime, he comes in and he has like 10 carries in the second half. Might score a touchdown. That's what you're hoping for. This is probably going to be a blowout. Baltimore got humiliated, so they're probably going to go out there and just try to pummel Washington. Washington, they probably will. Um, I put J.D. McKissick. I mean, I don't feel good about it, but they're going to be down probably a lot of points. He's kind of seems like their pass catcher. Antonio Gibson's kind of like their do-it-all type of guy. So he's like their pass specialist, I guess. So he probably going to be somebody who catches some balls. Last week, he caught 3 balls on 4 targets for 37 yards when they got down against the Browns. And then the last one I'll talk about if you need some help. Oh, 2 more. Nick Mullins. I think he's going to probably start this week. 343 yards and a touchdown last week. I don't think that's bad at all. If you need some quarterback help, desperate, I think he's a good play. And then the last one is his name Tunyon? Is that how you say his name? Robert Tunyon, the tight end for Green Bay. If they have Lazard out, and if Adams, I don't know what's going on with him. I think he came back to practice. They're hoping to get him back. But say he can't go, you're down a lot of receiving options, and I think that's a decent play this week as well. So just some quick dives. Um, you guys have anybody you want to add?
If we're gonna be on the topic of just like deep dives or like running backs, like if you're getting smacked with injuries and if you're new to fantasy football and like you just feel like you can't find a running back whatsoever, there's certain duos in the league where if one guy goes down, you just know the guy who's gonna fill the dude's shoes is gonna go off. He immediately becomes like a RB1 or 2. So an example would be like Alex Madison, I think that's his name, for Minnesota. Latavius Murray for New Orleans. Like if those guys are hanging out there on the waiver wire and you have the room on your team to stash them, just do it. Because even though they're not getting 10 points a game, as soon as someone goes, like if Kamara went down, Latavius Murray is immediately an RB1. You're
Right.
looking at 14, 15, 16 points, and it's matchup proof too. So if you can't find anyone right now to start, you can always be looking ahead. So like a Latavius Murray, Jamal Williams up in Green Bay, Even like Gio Bernard, like
Right.
if Mixon went down, people would want shares of Gio. So like if you're really scraping the
Tony
bottom of the
Pollard.
barrel, yep, Tony Pollard would be a great one. A really sneaky one would be Jordan Wilkinson.
Yeah, I was gonna. No. Honestly, that is good because, well, here's the thing. A lot of people think that Nahi Hines would just go in that backfield. No, he wouldn't. He'd be their pass
Right.
catcher in the
He
backfield, but
can't run
he's not
between
going to be
tackles.
their bruiser, and that's going to be Jordan Wilkins. So he's going to be somebody who's going to get goal line carries. They're first and second down runner, and they have a pretty good team and a very good defense so far. So it's going to be a team that's always competitive, and he'll get a lot of carries. So that is a good call. He's somebody that if he is available, why not? Especially in the how this season's going, we have no idea what's going to happen. So I think that's a good pick as well. And then and I did touch upon this like last week or previous week, like a game like tonight. You go out, pick up Royce Freeman if you have a bench spot. That way, if Melvin Gordon goes down, now you have Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay, who was probably going to return to this game, but you have Royce Freeman now alone in this backfield, and you picked him up. And then if he doesn't, you just drop him. You drop him. You pick somebody else up if Gordon's fine, and you go on. But do those kind of moves to get yourself ahead. On Michael P. Ryan, that'd be another person I would have added. Do you feel good about it? No, but at least it's somebody that would be starting if Frank Gore went down. So
Somebody asked us on Twitter. I figure it's a good question to ask. Who do you guys like more? Do you like the Ravens or defense, or do you like the Rams defense more this week?
I like the Ravens defense just
it's a
because
toss. Yeah, it's really both of them.
Yeah,
Can
I
go
get
wrong.
I get it that the Giants suck and everything, but it's almost like a trap. I swear that's almost a trap right there. You're like, this is for sure a lock. Rams should just beat up on this shit offense, and sure enough, that's the week Daniel Jones has 3 touchdowns. Slayton goes for 2. Like that.
Right.
That's my luck. Because I was looking at the
yeah.
same thing. I was looking at the spread and everything. I'm like, the Rams should just destroy the Giants. I'm going to take this right now. And I'm like, no, no, because it's too easy. It's too
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Yeah.
But no, that's a really good question. I'd go with Baltimore. I think they're going to play pissed.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I had pretty low expectations for the Rams this year, to be completely honest. But I just feel like this. I don't know. The Ravens' rush defense has been a little bit iffy all year, and at Washington, that's really all they have right now. So I feel the
They
same
won't
way
do
about.
shit.
I'm not saying.
They're gonna get
I'm just
blown
saying
out.
points wise. I'm not saying Washington's gonna win, but I'm saying if you're starting a defense and points wise, I mean, obviously Baltimore's offense is gonna keep Washington off the field, but I'm just saying, like, they start out with a certain amount of points.
Haskins will turn the ball over so many times in this
Yeah,
game. It's
well,
not.
Kyle, who would you
maybe.
rather play? You saying you play
I
the
just don't
Rams?
think the Ravens' defense is. Their interior is very good, but their secondary, I am not a fan of. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with both of you. It's such a toss-up because they're both going against terrible teams. So it's really just what team is not going to play to their team's competition, like, as in a trap game. So I don't really. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say. I guess to be safe,
Well, if you had to
I
pick
would
one,
if
who
I
would you
yeah
pick?
to be safe,
Ravens.
I would probably pick
Yeah. I mean, once
Ravens or
again,
Rams. I was gonna
what
say
you got to
I was
pick
gonna say
one. You can't say.
you interrupted me. I was gonna say the Rams.
You said Ravens or Rams.
Well,
Anyways, I agree. I think that the Ravens are. I think they're probably the better pick, but it's just a toss up. And you still have defenses in your league. You should throw them out and just pick up an extra flex. Yeah.
I want to say this: Ravens. Okay, week 1 played Cleveland. They finished with 15 fantasy points. They played Houston week 2. They finished with 16. They played Kansas City week 3. They had 7. That's your floor. That is your floor.
That's pretty good. They
If
had
you get 7
7.
against Kansas City, well, they
How
had a
the hell?
special teams touchdown, but
Oh yeah, that kickoff. Yeah.
that's why Baltimore is a good defensive play. They're like
Right.
ever since that. I mean, I grew up with Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Baltimore Ravens, so I'm just expecting that defense to get a touchdown every other game. So
Yeah, and you
I
have
I think that's
Harbaugh.
your
He's a good
floor,
coach.
guys. Is 7 points. So you're gonna get more than that. You're gonna get more than
I
that.
yeah,
agree,
I think they're.
especially the way Haskins looked last week. He didn't look good.
You could say the
Hasn't looked
same
good at
about the
all.
Rams defense though too. I do think they're.
So let's move on. Quick fire. I'm gonna just spit these out real quick, and you tell me. I'll ask either one of you, but quick, quick, quick. So we'll start with Giggs, Mike Davis or Daryl Henderson. Mike Davis,
Um,
Arizona, Henderson, Giants.
yeah, I would have to go. I'm gonna have to go Henderson, and my gut says Davis, but like all the football shit that I've read, it's Henderson's the hot hand, and McVay's kind of conceded like, nah, he looks good, and I kind of
Hmm.
want to give him the ball. And everyone was talking about him last year, saying, watch out, Gurley might not be important, it might be Henderson. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick with Henderson in a juicy matchup against the Giants.
I think it's. I mean, I actually had a couple questions on Twitter with this today, so I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I think both of them are good plays this week. So, uh, I'll throw this over to you, Kyle. Will Fuller versus Minnesota or Hollywood Brown versus Washington?
I don't. I would definitely go with Fuller. I think he had a pretty good week against Pittsburgh. I didn't start him in my fantasy league because I was worried he was gonna, and I didn't want to have to like root for him. I'm just that way because I like the Steelers, but I also had confidence Steven Nelson would shut him down. But anyways, Minnesota's defense is a shell of what it used to be, and I think that game will probably be a little bit of a shootout, honestly. So I just Lamar Jackson to any wide receiver. I'm not going to tell anybody to start any Ravens wide receiver because you don't know which arm Lamar Jackson's going to show up with. So I like Fuller in that one.
All right, Gigs. Next one, Odell or Odell against Dallas or Keenan Allen versus Tampa Bay.
Hmm. I would probably go Keenan Allen until Baker Mayfield gets his shit together. Like I probably drafted OBJ higher than Keenan Allen, so it pains you to do it. But um, Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen been hooking up, and
Hmm.
OBJ is not getting the volume he needs to, return the investment that you made. Probably getting him in the second, third, fourth round at the latest. So I'm going Keenan Allen. It's not an easy matchup though.
No, it's not. I honestly, I'd probably go Odell here just because I think this is going to be a shootout, and I think it's going to be a game that, the Cleveland's not just going to be able to pound the ball, because Dallas is going to score. So I think this is a decent. I think this will be one of Odell's good games. I don't think he'll have many this year. I think this will be one of them though. So next one, Kyle. Um, would you play? We'll give you this one because it's your boy. Mo Alley Cox versus Chicago or Dalton Schultz versus Cleveland?
I do like the connection that Rivers and Mo Alley Cox. I like where that's going. It seems like they're kind of getting the ball out. As long as Rivers doesn't turn the ball over, I just like the Colts in general. But I'm just gonna have to go with Mo Alley Cox. A lot of people are talking about him. I think he is one of those guys. His opportunity arise, and he took advantage of it. I like guys like that.
All right, let's go to Gigs for the next one. Would you go James Robinson or Kenyon Drake? James Robinson versus Cincinnati, Kenyon Drake versus Carolina.
Um, I'm just waiting for Kenyon Drake to pop, and I think this is
Hmm.
a really good matchup. So I'll go with Kenyon Drake here, but really I don't think you can go wrong with either of the two. But
Yeah, I
gun to
think they're
my
both
head,
good
Kenyon
plays.
Drake.
And I think um, I thought last week would be the Kenyon Drake week because they played
Same.
Detroit. More after this one, but that will be the last one. Kyle, we'll throw over tight ends again. I should have get. I'll give you a running back because this. I'll give Gigs this next one. So Joshua Kelly or Jeff Wilson, or do you want me to take this one?
Uh, I mean, I do like Kelly, but I mean, you can do it too because I don't. Wilson, I haven't really watched too much of, but Kelly, I've been following a little bit. I do like where he's going. So, and I mean, Eckler's a beast, but I've mentioned in the past he's not an all-down back guy, so you're gonna see Kelly a lot in that offense, especially dump off passes, things like that from your boy.
I think I it is a toss up. I think I might go Wilson though, just because if Mostert's out, I might go Wilson. Um, Shanahan's just a genius with his scheme, and I think Wilson, is going to have a good week. Kelly actually, Tampa Bay is actually a very good run defense, so I don't expect a lot from Kelly in this game because I don't think he's going to have. I think he'll have like 60 yards maybe. 50 yards on the ground, not much in the passing game, so I think that'll be about it. So let's go to the last one here. Gigs, TJ Hawkinson, your boy, or
Ooh,
Hayden Hurst?
I'm gonna go Hawkinson. Um, I think he's established a good floor this season, and if you watch the game, he was kind of the focal point in the second half. They kind of tried to put the ball through him. They're playing New Orleans. Um, the fan in me says it's going to be a close game, but it probably won't be. So if they're playing catch up, they're going to be throwing the ball. I like Hawkinson in this one.
Have one of the highest over unders for the game, 54. So it should be a high scoring game. Should be. And I will say, I think both of them have a pretty good week, but New Orleans has been pretty leaky against the tight end this year. So uh, definitely, I think he's a pretty good play this week. And then, so that finishes up our, well, unless you guys want to have anything else to say about football wise, like any maybe plays or bets or anything DFS wise that you like this week. We'll have another show for you guys on Sunday morning. We'll have that like right in the morning, 8 o'clock, and we'll be able to post that out there. So we'll have that's going to be like a more detailed show where we're doing a lot of different segments talking about players, news, and we'll be on Twitter as well. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter. We're actually pretty quick in responding as to who's out, who's in, that kind of stuff. So you should follow us, and we'll answer any questions that you guys have.
The link
The
is right here,
link's
right
right
below,
there,
or
right below me.
the at. Yeah, it's gonna be right here, right where you're at.
All right, right here. Right here's the ad. So go ahead, follow us. Ask us any questions. We'll answer any questions. Also, I forget to do this. I need to get in the habit of doing this more. Kyle, you should remind me this. You'd be good at it. Make sure if you're liking this video, hit that like button, subscribe. If you have something that you want to say, any questions that you may have, who to start, who to sit, maybe who to trade. Yeah, I got a bunch of questions about that today. Should I trade X, Y, and Z for A, B, and C? Feel free to leave that in the comments below. We'll answer your questions. And so, yeah, make sure you like the video and turn on that notification button so you know when we go live or if we got a new video. Hey, so anything else that you guys want to say about football for tonight?
I want to kind of do that game where you're like, you want this or that, you want this guy or that guy. If you have Cooper Cup and Robert Woods, who are you playing? You can only pick one.
Mm,
Robert Woods.
that's tough. I'd probably go. I'd go Cup.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just both of them. Like
But isn't Cup more of a yardage guy? Like where's
I just think both the Rams guys. I mean, you just play them every week because it's just a good
You can
system.
only play one though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go. Yeah, you can't go wrong. I'll go Cup just because Kyle said John or he'd go Woods.
All right. Well, all right. You can only pick four. All right.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
touchdown league. You can only pick four. Here are your choices: Keenan Allen, OBJ, Will Fuller, Cooper Cup, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods.
Oh. Um. I mean, you have to play. You have to play A-Rob. I mean, he's just too good not to play. He could definitely have a bad week against a very good defense, but you got to play him. Um, I'd go him. I think OBJ is going to have a good week this week. I think Will Fuller's going to have a big week because I think Watson's going to have a really good week. So I think this is going to be one of those Fuller games where he has like 100 yards and like 3 touchdowns on 4 catches, because Minnesota's pass defense is terrible. And then I'd go with one of the Rams players. Um, I do like Robert Woods more than Cup. I do. I think he could probably
There it
score.
is.
Yeah, so that's who I would play.
He's just a red zone threat. I like
But honestly, those are all really good options. So
Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
So
those are my
and
wide
this is what I
receivers.
this is what I tell people all the time on Twitter too.
Oops,
Is
I didn't know I was muted.
I tell people this all the time on Twitter. Like, this is your team. Okay. If you listen to some expert or some guru or some average Joe like myself, and I tell you to pick somebody else when you were thinking this other person, you're going to get all pissed off at me and say, well, what the hell, man? Like, just live and die with your own decisions. Yeah, I'll give you input. I'll give you some stats and you can kind of base your decision off of that. But at the end of the day, pick who you want to play. This is your team. Live and die with your team, who you want to play, because if that person plays really well and I said to play the other person, you'll be so much happier.
Did
So
you
just play
pick
who you want to play.
Allen Iverson? Allen
Allen
Robinson.
Iverson, hey.
Did you pick Allen Robinson as one of your 4?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he has a tough matchup, but you
Yeah.
got to play
No,
him.
I mean I agree. I was gonna say Foles. I think they're gonna be pretty nice together. And then Woods, and then Keenan Allen, and
Keenan Allen, yeah, that's another. I mean,
Keenan
that's
Allen's
good.
just a for sure. Like he's incredible. I love watching Keenan Allen. And I forgot some of the other guys you'd mentioned.
So here they are. It's Keenan Allen, OBJ, Will Fuller, Cooper Cup, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods.
Yeah. So basically, it's between. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's
OBJ
tough.
is OBJ. That's so tough. And God, man, that is tough. Yeah, Fuller. I'm gonna have to say Fuller. I do like Fuller moving forward. As long as he's healthy, I really like Fuller.
I think this is going to be a good week for the Houston players.
One last week proved Deshaun Watson is legit as fuck. I mean, dude is just so
Who?
accurate. Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, he's
I mean, not
he's
that
the bee's
nobody
D's.
knew that, but like, I mean, it really solidified. I mean, people are just, it was incredible. But NBA, are we gonna talk about it? I think we don't
Yeah,
really
I
have.
could run through it real quick
Yeah,
if
let's
you
just run
want.
through it really quick. I don't really have much to say. Tyler, do you have much to say?
I'm not going to say anything
Yeah,
because I
I'm
don't
probably
know.
not gonna say anything.
Oh hell yeah. Well, let's give you that that Thursday recap of the NBA. Yesterday, Lakers beat the Heat big. It was 116-98. During the game, Jimmy Butler, he tweaked his ankle. He did finish the game. He finished 6 of 13 from the field, 2 and 4 downtown. Finished 23 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Gordon Dragic, or however the fuck you say his name, I call him the Iron Shoulder. He left in the second quarter. Someone said that they think he has a torn plantar fascia in his left foot. He had a lot of lower body injuries this year, and he's probably going to be done, which is not good for the Heat. What's also not good for the Heat is the news that came out about Bam, which was he aggravated his left shoulder. So he's got a left shoulder strain. And me and Tyler, we were talking about this earlier. He must have hurt his shoulder or had an upper body injury during the playoff already, or like right before. So this is a nagging injury. Essentially, it's a re-aggravation of an injury that he had, and he's not going to be 100%. You're already down Dragic. You don't have 100% Butler. This series does not look like the Heat are going to steal not even one game, I would say. Not even one. Coming in, I thought maybe they could get one, maybe two. But now I'm pretty convinced it's going to be a sweep. And the Lakers, they looked good. LeBron, he went 9 for 17, 2 for 4 beyond the arc. He finished with 25 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists. And Anthony Davis, he went 11 for 21, also shooting 2 for 4 downtown with 34 points, 5 assists, and 9 rebounds. And I looked at the team stats, like the whole game, the Lakers were in control. The Heat, they don't have the big men to roll with the Lakers. And I was actually wondering if maybe we're going to get a little bit of that Myers Leonard magic. I don't know if anyone watched the Portland Trailblazers last year, but Myers Leonard came in and he dropped like 23 points in this big game, helped Portland win. Everyone's going nuts. Miami goes and gets him, and he doesn't play any minutes for them. So I'll never understand that. But here's the telling stat, guys. The Heat had 5 offensive rebounds. They had 31 defensive rebounds. That's 36 total. The Lakers, 9 offensive rebounds, 45 defensive rebounds. They had 54 rebounds to the Miami Heat's 36. You're not going to win if you can't rebound the ball. So Kelly Olynyk, get ready to see a lot more of him. But overall, I think this series is pretty much over. I think the Lakers are going to sweep them. So if you're a betting man, go bet on the Lakers money line every time.
Let me
I think
ask
it's a
you
wrap.
a couple player props I'm curious about, and then we can wrap it up. All right.
Hold on. I want to just say one thing before you do that.
Yeah.
You know that gif of LeBron where he's he's like looking up and he's going you know that face he's doing. So this is what I just tweeted at somebody on our sports podcast show. They said Devontae Freeman against the Rams or Kenyon Drake against the Panthers. Like, come on, man. Come on. And I'm doing the LeBron gif like, what the hell? What is this? Like, come on. If you really got to think about who to play, oh man, that's
There's
bad.
a
So
lot of those I've noticed.
all right, anyways.
All right. So who do you like as a first basket scorer, Gigs? I mean, who do you think? This is the way I looked at it when I was doing this, dabbling in this a little bit. Who do you think's probably going to win the tip off, and more than likely, who do you think they would get the ball first to probably score a bucket, or maybe another reason you like that person?
So the Lakers rarely have anyone who scores more than 10 points. They have a hard time having 5 players score 10 or more points, and Anthony Davis and LeBron are going to score, 20 or more each. So like if I'm betting first basket scored, the only 2 people I'm considering on the Lakers are Anthony Davis or LeBron James, and that's without me looking at the odds. Now, if LeBron was like plus 250 and
Higher,
KC, like plus 300, plus
plus
400?
430,
Okay. So what's KCP? Like plus 1,500?
1,200.
Okay. Yeah. See, at that point, I would just go LeBron. If you're putting a
Yeah,
good amount of money down on this, then
yeah.
I would just go LeBron,
1,200 is
AD.
not enough to put like a little bet on.
And then on the Heat side, what do they even have Goran Dragic as someone you can bet on?
No.
Okay. Do they have Bam as someone you can bet on?
Nope.
Okay. So if those 2 guys aren't playing, it
Then
has to be Jimmy Buckets, right?
yeah.
Or Duncan Robinson, Jay Crowder. Those are the guys I would
No.
consider,
Jay Crowder's 1,300.
or
Yeah.
Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero's 900 and Robinson 700. Olenek 900. Butler 900.
Oh, Butler 900 all day.
Yeah,
I would
like
go
that.
Butler.
Me too.
So the hedge, I would be like, okay, who's going to get the ball first? I don't know. So I'm going to have someone on Miami, someone on the Lakers. If I'm going Miami, I'm going Butler. Lakers, it's Davis or
Right.
LeBron.
All right, and I'm gonna ask you 3 more, and then we'll wrap it up here. Anthony Davis under over 29.5 points.
So I'm going to go with under. And the reason why is I think they're going to blow him out, and Anthony Davis might not even have to be on the court. But
Okay.
realistically, if Anthony Davis scores less than that, who else is going to score the points for the Lakers?
Ooh,
Like if
this
like if
actually would be a good question after. Go ahead and finish though.
yeah, I was just gonna say like if LeBron and Anthony Davis combined for 60, like and the Lakers score 100 points, you got to get 40 out of everyone else. And you look at the box score, it's like Danny Green 8 points, Morris 5 points, Rondo 6 points. Like I want to say the under because I think they could blow them out. But I'm actually gonna change my mind. I'm gonna stick with the over until it actually happens, because they didn't blow them out. They beat them pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think it was 18 points they won by. All right. So if you do think that, then do you think? I mean, I know part of you does, part of you doesn't want to say it in case you're wrong, but Alex Caruso, do you think if that is the case, if they do blow him out, do you see him having over or under 6.5 points?
Oh, go over. He had over 10. I think he had 10 points last game, and if you were watching at the end, he got way more aggressive against Miami's second unit. Miami has a lot more guards like Kendrick Nunn, like younger players that come out on the court, and Caruso was even getting barked at by LeBron because he wasn't making switches, even though they were winning by 20 points. Like Caruso, I don't know. He's kind of like Batman and Robin with LeBron. Like LeBron loves that guy, and he loves how he can set up the plays and how sneaky athletic he is. I would go with Caruso over, definitely.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good one too, and I think this is a pretty good question. I'm gonna take him over Hero because I do agree with you. I do think the Lakers are probably gonna sweep them. So this is a good one because I think the odds are pretty nice. Plus 154 for Kyle Kuzma having over 1.5 threes in the game. Do you like that? Do you not like that?
Dude,
Because I
I
mean,
don't
there
think
is
Kyle Kuzma could hit water falling out of a boat right now. Like
he has hit a couple threes in their stretch so far, but one of the things I did see in a video today is the guy was talking about how the Heat were running a lot of zone, and that's part of why the Lakers were able to pick them apart and pass it out, dump it off to the shooters, and that's why they had a lot of 3-point shots in that game. But I mean, if they don't do the same this game, or if they do the same this game, I think you could expect a lot. And Kuzma, I mean, that's literally just two 3-point shots, which I don't think is that far fetched.
they're gonna have to play zone. They don't have the
Yeah,
bodies to match up with the
exactly.
Lakers.
Right.
So yeah, I would expect yeah, if it's plus odds, you said plus
Yeah,
130,
plus 154.
154. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go look at the stats. I know they shot 38 threes. They made 15 last game. If they did that again, do I think Kuzma could account for 2 or 15? Sure.
Yeah.
And especially if it's gonna, he might get extra burn if they're blowing him out. So yeah, that's not a bad one. I like it.
All right. Well, thank you, Gigs. That's our first edition of NBA betting. So we're gonna try to do more sports and maybe get into the fantasy side of those sports too. But for now, it'll probably just be betting.
Take
But
Lakers -9,
that's your call.
hands down.
Okay, you heard it here first on the Aspire Sports Show. Thanks for tuning in, watching, and I'll pass it off to Tyler for him to wrap stuff up, and that'll be the end.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate the pass off. And I just want to say thank you all for um, listening, if you're still listening. And make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, right here on Twitter, okay? Follow us on Twitter. Ask us any questions that you have. Honestly, if it's Sunday and you're not quite sure, I see a lot of people doing this. They like ask the top experts, and obviously those top experts are probably going to answer your questions. Ask us. We're the semi-experts. We're the amateur experts. One day you're going to be the big dogs around here, okay? So ask us. We'll give you the answers. But once again, remember, it's your team. Make the decision. Live with it. You'll win, okay? Have faith in yourself. So with that, thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful day / evening whenever you're watching this. Have a wonderful night.